Welcome to Earthly Reads, a My Cup of Earth production. On a distant planet, far, far away, there was a magical world called Sparkleonia. It was a world of wonder, where stars shone bright in the sky, and flowers bloomed in every color of the rainbow. The air was sweet with the scent of sugar and spice, and the ground was soft and squishy, like a big, fluffy cloud. In the heart of Sparkleonia, there was a tiny village called Luminaria. It was a village of sparkling lights, where the houses were made of glittering crystals, and the streets were paved with shining stones. The villagers of Luminaria were kind and gentle, with skin as soft as petals and hair as bright as the stars. In the center of Luminaria, there was a beautiful, shimmering lake called Glittering Glimmer. The lake was home to all sorts of magical creatures, like mermaids, sea serpents, and even the occasional dragon. But the most magical of all was a little creature named Luna. Luna was a tiny, winged fairy, with wings as delicate as a butterfly's and hair as bright as the moon. She lived in a tiny, sparkling cottage on the edge of the lake, surrounded by a garden full of glittering flowers and sparkling trees. Luna loved to play in the garden, chasing after butterflies and making flower crowns for the villagers. One day, a strange and wonderful thing happened. A big, bright rainbow appeared in the sky, stretching from one end of Sparkleonia to the other. The villagers were amazed and delighted, and they all gathered at the lake to watch the rainbow unfold. As they watched, a tiny, shimmering portal opened at the end of the rainbow, and a small, furry creature tumbled out. The creature was a little rabbit, with a fluffy tail and big, bright eyes. He was covered in sparkles, and his fur shimmered and shone like the stars in the sky. The villagers gasped in wonder, and Luna flew out of her cottage to see what all the fuss was about. She landed on the rabbit's shoulder, and he looked up at her with a big, bright smile. "Hello, little fairy," he said, in a voice that was as soft as a whisper. "My name is Rusty, and I come from a far-off land called Earth." Luna's eyes grew wide with wonder. She had never heard of Earth before, and she had never seen a creature like Rusty. She asked him all sorts of questions, and Rusty told her about the amazing things he had seen on his journey to Sparkleonia. He told her about the big, blue oceans, and the towering mountains that touched the sky. He told her about the forests, full of tall, green trees, and the cities, full of tall, shining buildings. And he told her about the people, who were as diverse as the flowers in her garden. Luna was enchanted by Rusty's stories, and she asked him to stay with her in Luminaria. Rusty was delighted, and he spent the next few days exploring the village and getting to know the villagers. As he wandered through the streets, Rusty noticed something strange. The villagers were all very kind and gentle, but they seemed to be hiding something. They would whisper to each other, and glance nervously at the sky. Luna noticed Rusty's curiosity, and she leaned in close to whisper a secret. "The villagers are afraid of the shadow," she said, her voice barely audible over the rustling of the leaves. "The shadow?" Rusty repeated, his eyes growing wide with wonder. "What is the shadow?" Luna hesitated, as if she wasn't sure if she should tell him. But Rusty's curious eyes seemed to say, "Tell me more." So she took a deep breath, and began to explain. "The shadow is a dark and mysterious force that threatens to destroy Sparkleonia," she said, her voice trembling with fear. "It comes from the darkest corners of the universe, and it seeks to snuff out the light and magic of our world." Rusty's eyes grew wide with alarm, and he felt a shiver run down his spine. He had never heard of anything like the shadow before, and he didn't know what to make of it. But Luna was undeterred. She told Rusty that she had a plan to defeat the shadow, and she asked him to help her. Rusty was hesitant at first, but Luna's determination and bravery inspired him. and he agreed to join her on her quest. Together, Luna and Rusty set out to gather a group of brave and noble warriors to join their fight against the Shadow. They traveled to the farthest reaches of Sparkleonia, gathering a motley crew of creatures, each with their own unique skills and abilities. There was a brave and fierce dragon named Blaze, who breathed fire and had a heart of gold. There was a sly and cunning fox named Whiskers, who was quick and agile, and had a talent for sneaking past danger. And there was a gentle and wise unicorn named Starlight, who shone with a soft, white light, and had the power to heal the wounded. As they gathered their forces, Luna and Rusty realized that they were facing a formidable foe. The Shadow was a dark and powerful force, and it seemed to be growing stronger by the day. But they were determined to defeat it, and they set out on their quest with courage and hope in their hearts. As they journeyed across Sparkleonia, they encountered all sorts of challenges and dangers. They battled fierce monsters and navigated treacherous landscapes, but they also discovered hidden strengths and talents, and they grew closer and closer as friends. Finally, after many long and difficult days, they reached the heart of the Shadow's lair. It was a dark and foreboding place, filled with twisted and tangled shadows. But Luna and her friends were not afraid. They stood tall and brave, and they faced the Shadow with determination and courage. The battle was fierce and intense, with spells and swords clashing in a spectacular display of light and color. But in the end, it was Luna who came up with the plan that would save the day. She used her fairy magic to create a powerful illusion, distracting the Shadow and giving her friends the chance to strike. With a final, mighty blow, the Shadow was defeated, and Sparkleonia was saved. The villagers cheered and celebrated, and Luna and her friends were hailed as heroes. As they returned to Luminaria, Rusty turned to Luna and smiled. "Thank you for showing me the magic of Sparkleonia," he said, his eyes shining with wonder. "I'll never forget this adventure, and I'll always be grateful for the friendship we shared." Luna smiled back, her eyes twinkling with happiness. "You're welcome, Rusty," she said, "and I'll never forget our adventure together, either. You may be from a far-off land, but you'll always be a part of Sparkleonia, in my heart." And with that, Rusty knew that he would always be welcome in Sparkleonia, and that he would never be alone, for he had found a true friend in Luna, and a home in the magical world of Sparkleonia. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.